Well, hi everyone, welcome back. To those of you who might be new here, welcome. Thank you to everyone who took the time to leave a like or a comment on my last video, and especially if you left me some advice for my We Do Disney situation and or some encouragement on the Natsu framing. I gave that to the intended recipient and they were thrilled. So that's all that really matters in the end, whether or not it was centered or not. So I've got quite a bit for you this week. I have a lot of random musings as well. Unfortunately, I just remembered that I left them all on a list on my phone, and guess what I'm filming on? So hopefully I'll remember them all. I may take a quick break and turn the camera off at the end and make sure that I mentioned everything that I wanted to mention. Lexi's being good today. She's not mad at me. I think last week I mentioned she was mad at me and I never told you why. And now I don't remember. I was going to tell you why and now I don't remember. Oh, I do! Because when the guy was here changing the battery, she was beside herself with rage that there was someone around and she didn't get to see them. And she didn't get to investigate them and probably give them kisses and love because that's what she does. That's what she was mad about. That's right. I have a small bit of haul. I have some more questions. I really enjoy asking questions and getting a chance to interact with you. So I have some questions maybe on scheduling preferences. Please don't mess with those. They're sharp. And some future plans to talk about, some stuff that I'm excited about. So yeah, we'll go ahead and jump right in. Starting off with the whips. Had a relatively productive week this week because, as I mentioned, I took some time off. In addition to the long weekend, I took some extra time off for me. So I got a lot of stitching done. So I'll start with what I got the least done on and then move up to what I got the most done on. Oh, she's being so good today, so cuddly. Maybe I should film on lazy Sunday afternoons more often. And it just went away. Don't touch anything. So the first one that I worked on, and I really got hardly anything done, was Yona. And again, this is my own design. Well, it's not my own design, it's my own conversion of the screenshot. And I only got about 120 stitches done on this one. So here it is. So this is actually, this square represents the bottom of page 1. So I've gotten all of this darkest purple done on the first page, and I'm starting to go back and fill in the holes with some of these lighter and brighter purples. I'm really excited to be working on something that's not black for a change, even if it's going to be forever before I actually get anything visible on it. This is on 25 count Lugana 1/1. And that is quite an adventure for me. I need to not work on that at night because my lighting is bad enough that I have a hard time seeing. Okay, what next? I think the one I probably got the least done on next, and it wasn't for lack of spending time on it, it was just the way it was, is We Do Disney. And again, thank you for all your help with this last week. The consensus seemed to be that the rainbow had to go. And then the backstitching of the word family at a minimum was probably going to be necessary. And then Crafty Rogue Gamer suggested something right along the lines of what I had just started doing, which was to do the backstitch in kind of a coordinating color. And she had specifically said like maybe a lighter blue like on Stitch's belly, which was exactly what I was doing. And so here's where I'm at right now. So you can see family. I did backstitch it in a lighter blue and now it pops a little bit more. And then I started working on house I finished the word and over here too is also new. And then I started working on house in white. I have not gone back and frogged the rainbow yet because I think what I'm going to do is try to get this page done. And you can see the end of this, that's where this page starts. So I'm going to try to get this page done and then go back and do this page just so that I'm not constantly moving the Q-snap, because it's just a little bit wider than the Q-snap. The design is just a little bit wider than the Q-snap. So if I was going to do each line individually, I would constantly have to be just slightly adjusting the Q-snap just a couple inches over to the left or the right. So I think I'm going to do them in pages, even though it would be really fun to be able to do all of the words and all of the phrases at one time. So that's where I'm at on this one. What I'm currently doing is this is kind of like my third priority for the weeks, and it shares that with Cinderella. So about every other day, I work a little bit on this one, about 100 stitches. So that mentions its counterpart. That would be the Mandala Cinderella. And that is by Magic Stitch Shop, I believe. This is also a gift if you watch or if you follow me on Instagram at D&E Geek Crafts. This is what I'm referring to as Mystery Christmas Gift number 2, because similar to the situation with Sebastian, this one is for someone who follows my Instagram. And so I will no longer be posting it there. You folks are the only people that get to see an update on this one. So, the last time that you saw this one, here's where I was at. And here's where I'm at now. Thanks to one of my new haul acquisitions, I've actually started doing some of these sparkles that involve counting the linen, as much as I hate it, and I've been able to get some of those done. These are all about 5 stitches too low. I counted from here when I should have counted from here to do this top one. I don't care. It's gonna be fine. No one's ever gonna know, because those are all kind of out in the middle of nowhere anyway. And then I've been filling in some of the color. I got a lot of blue actually done in here, and then I've started working on this pink. So kind of the way I'm working on this one right now, since it's got so many color changes, is I'm working my way down. So I'm right about here, and then I take that I take that color that needs to be filled in, and I try to fill in as much of it as I can without having to count way out. So there's some ball gown that's out here that I haven't actually gotten to yet and probably won't be for a while. But then, yeah, I'm working on this first page and just trying to fill in the individual colors as I go, with the exception of the white and the yellow, because there's a ton of that. So I'm kind of just filling those in, like, I'll just fill in the yellow that's in this area, and then I'll move on to another color. The other thing I did with this one was I changed this. This yellow sparkle was actually supposed to be this light blue, and I just feel like, excuse me, on this fabric, this was originally intended to be done on navy, and on this fabric I feel like that lighter blue doesn't show up well enough, so I switched to the yellow instead. So there's where I'm at on Cinderella. And again, this is in a similar situation to We Do Disney, which is that I work on it a little bit about every other day. So it's not getting a ton of attention, but it is getting some so that when Defying Gravity is done, one of these will be in a position to be able to be my July finish, hopefully. The next one's my big guy, Deal Struck. I am still working on similar plan to what I've been doing, which is a minimum of 100 stitches a day. I'm alternating black with color. Things are going to change a little bit on this one, but let me show you where it's at first. So here's where it was the last time I talked about it. And here's where I'm at now. So you can see I finished this column of black, and I'm making pretty good progress on this column. I've also been filling in over here. Now, the reason that this is going to change a little tiny bit is I have somehow, yet again, made a counting error, like right in here on some of these, this dark confetti at the edge of the hand. So I know that these are right. I know that they're where they're supposed to be. And I know that up here is right. So it's somewhere in here, which is similar to the situation I'm in up here. So I think that what I'm going to stop doing for now is I'm going to stop working down here, and I'm going to start working more in up here, which means that my progress on the black is going to slow down. Because what I had been doing is I do 100 stitches a day, so I would do some black until my thread ran out, and then I would pick some of this confetti, which would only be like, I'd pick a color. And that would only be maybe as small as 1 stitch, as many as like 17. And I would fill that in, and then I would finish my 100 stitches in black. But now that I'm going to be switching to working up here, these are larger chunks of color. So it's going to be a bigger block. So instead of like maybe 5 stitches here, it might be more like 30. So instead of 100 stitches down here, I'll be doing more like 70. So this is going to slow down, which basically just means it's going to be more like what it was going to be when I hit the page finish anyway, because this is a very depressing thought. I alternate between being super excited to see this done and knowing I need to work on it a little every day to make that happen in 5.5 years, to being depressed that it's going to take me 5.5 years and getting a little bored with it. And the realization I had is when I finish this page, absolutely nothing is going to change for a good month or 2 afterwards, because I'm still going to alternate color and black and color and black as much as I can. And all of this, like here's the end of page 1, all of this is black. So I'm still going to be doing color, black, color, black, color, black, color, black. So nothing is going to change. So this is going to continue to be a boring piece for a good long time, but someday it will be so worth it. Now, if you'll remember last week when I recorded, I was in the middle of a challenge that I had issued to myself about getting a page finish on Defying Gravity. And I'm not talking about Defying Gravity right now. And that challenge was that so this is kind of a little bit of haul. Yes. It is exactly the same as it was 5 minutes ago. Okay, 15 minutes ago. I'm sorry. If I got a page finish on Defying Gravity, I would get to buy 2 new stitch-alongs that I had my eye on. And my next whip is a new stitch along I started, so spoiler alert on Defying Gravity. I did get, obviously, I got my page finished, so I got to buy both of the stitch alongs. And the first one I actually started, and that is Caterpillar Cross Stitches Hello Sunshine. It's got a flamingo. Are we surprised I got that one? Nah, not really. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a minute. So, I got it. I went ahead and started it. Does it count for the catch up on all your stitch along if you only started it 5 days late and technically you're still on the piece that was just released? Maybe it's the keep up on all your stitch along? What? Yes, I like you too, but why are you being so kissy right now, huh? You'd think I hadn't been around all morning. I haven't done anything. So, here's where I'm at. I went out on a limb with my fabric color choice for this one. I pulled out my stash and I was looking at it, and I really wanted to do something bright. I had a couple bright greens that I really wanted to do with it, but there's this, well, get comfortable. I can't talk with you making all that noise. Leave that alone. Come on, how many times do you... I thought dogs only had to turn around 3 times. Lies. Lay down. I don't know what's going on here. Usually this is not a problem. I'm gonna move this. I shouldn't have moved it. You were finally comfortable. All right, if you please stop being noisy. Well, yes, thanks, you too. Well, that was an ordeal. I'm tired now. And I have no idea where I was. Oh, went out on a limb with all the fabric choices. I had a couple of bright greens that I really wanted to use for this one, and then realized that a lot of the, that several of the colors in here that there is a lot of are actually a yellow green, and they clashed. So then I looked through a bunch of my other stuff, and I came across this one, and I was like, it's not what you'd expect, but it's kind of fun. And so here's where I'm at, and the fabric is Escape from Bestitch Me. It's a 16 count Aida, and it's probably a little bit darker than you'd expect for this, but I think it's fun. So here we go. So yeah, it's got these dark blues, and this has always reminded me, even though it's a tad bit darker, actually this kind of reminds me of up around where I grew up in northern Michigan with the Great Lakes, where you've got the darker blues of the lakes, as opposed to like the bright, brilliant colors of the Caribbean. It's this more muted blues with this peachy color. I really liked this fabric when it came out as a fabric of the month, and I'm happy that I found something to use it on, and I think it's turned out really great. There is a green here that's kind of fading in, like you can't see it from far away, but you can see it when you're up close. But yeah, I like the way it's turning out. So here's where I'm at. It's a lot bigger than I anticipated. I thought I'd be done with it by now. I've probably got in like 600 or 800 stitches on it. And I thought I'd be done with it, and I'm not. But that's fine. I'm still working on it. So that was one of the two. And you will hear about the other one when I talk about haul. And that brings me to the last whip that I had, which is Defying Gravity. And if you'll remember, last time I was closing in on a page finish. I wasn't quite there. Here's where I was at. And I got my page finish done. But what else did I get done? Well, here you go. So I got all of this page done, which it ended right here in the O. As you can see, because where the green ends here is the end of the page. So we got that done. I got another chunk of the black filled in, and I've started working on filling in her face. And I had a couple of points where I was working on this color green in her face that is the same color as the letters. So I've got most of the Y filled in as well. I'm really excited. It is close to being done. I've probably got, I was doing the math based on how many 10 by 10 squares I have left. I've probably got somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500 stitches left on this one. 125 stitches a day I had calculated would have me done by the end of the month. That did not take into account the fact that I already had some of Elfie's face filled in. On this page, it wasn't a fresh start on this page. I don't think it's going to take me to the end of the month. Maybe 2 more weeks? I looked at it Friday night and I was like, can I finish it this weekend? I have other things I need to do. I'm not going to try to finish it this weekend. I think next weekend I'm probably going to go to my dad's. I don't know. I have to call him and see when he wants me. But if I don't, maybe next weekend. Maybe 2 weeks. If I do go see him this weekend or this coming weekend, it's not going to take me till the end of June. There's no way. I'm going to catch finish fever. It's there. It's so close. So close. I'm getting there. So, yeah. Stay tuned. There'll be a finish this month. I am thinking of actually getting this one framed professionally. It's my first really big full coverage. This is, well, okay, really big is a relative term. This is the largest full coverage that I will have completed to date. It's 15,000 stitches. That's nothing compared to a Haid. I know that. That's nothing compared to Deal Struck or Yona. But at the time that I started this, that was a big deal. And I kind of want to, even though I'm not keeping it, I kind of want to give it that nice special treatment. So, I don't know. We'll see when I get done with it. We'll see what I can find for framing, and we'll see how much framing would cost me. I know it's a lot, but I'll think about it. In the meantime, I'm just so proud of it. Okay, I realized after I got done speaking that about all of my whips that there were a few things I wanted to talk about that I didn't talk about. So I'm splicing this back in, and sorry if it seems really abrupt. But I wanted to give you some insight into my brain. You'll probably regret it, but I don't know. It's been on my mind, and I thought I'll mention it, and maybe someone else will say that they do something similar, and I won't feel so bad, or you'll just know that I'm really weird. My whips have theme songs. Not all of them, just some of them. Or not even theme songs, but theme movie scenes. I don't know what it is. I don't understand. But does anyone else have this? I need to know. It's sometimes they make sense. Like for Hey Sunshine, it's Bill Withers' Ain't No Sunshine. Every time I stitch this, I sing that song in my head over and over again. So, yeah, that's it. But then sometimes they don't make sense. This one has 2 theme songs. The first one makes sense. It's Hey Cinderella by Susie Boggess. And so sometimes I will sing that one when I work on this one. The other one is Once Upon a Dream. And I know that's from Sleeping Beauty. I know it's not from Cinderella. I don't know why. That is this piece's theme song. That's what I think of when I hear this one. Or that's what I hear when I work on this one. So, whips have theme songs. Mine do. Do yours? Or there will be, for whatever reason, and I can't think of an example right now. I know there was something I was working on recently where there was a completely unrelated scene from a movie or a television show that had absolutely nothing to do with the whip replayed over and over and over in my head. I don't know if it was some sort of word association, but whatever. So whips have theme songs. One of the other things I wanted to mention, I heard a term that just really tickled me. And that was Mad Morty. Again, and we'll mention her at the end again. It's kind of weird. This is like a Back to the Future type thing because I've literally already recorded the end, and now I'm in the middle again. So, but Mad Morty coined the term stitch-a-later instead of a stitch-along, and I've decided now that is all of my stitch-alongs. All of them. So, that's all my whips for this week. Plans. The Magical Stitches prompts are not out for this week yet, so they could change things. But right now, what I tend to do on a daily basis is I tend to do my 100 stitches on Deal Struck, and then my 125 stitches on Defying Gravity. And then how much time I have left determines what I do next. Sometimes, if I have not really a lot of time left, I might just do a few extra stitches on Defying Gravity and call it a day. If I have enough time to keep going, then the next thing I do is 100 stitches on either Cinderella or We Do Disney, so that hopefully one of those will be within striking distance of a finish by the time I get to July, because I think, as I mentioned, at this point, I have to finish a Christmas gift every month to have them all done in time for Christmas. And aside from Defying Gravity, that's not a sure thing. The rest of them have quite a bit left to go. So I work on those. If I have any extra time left, then it's time for stitch-alongs. I want to try first to finish Hello Sunshine so that I can keep up with that one. Because the idea of keeping up with a stitch-along is like a foreign concept to me anymore. And once I get done there, I'm going to work on getting caught up on all of my stitch-alongs. Probably the next one that I will jump into is Wonders of the Solar System. Because I think it would probably be the next easiest one to catch up on. But I don't know. We'll see when I get there, because that's a ways off. Obviously, Magical Stitches prompts, if there's anything in there that's interesting and or fun, might change things up. But that's my basic bare bones plan pretty much all the time, or for all of June. Barring Magical Stitches or anything else interesting that comes up challenge-wise. One thing that I am doing this month, and this was pointed out to me by the Stitching Penguin, and I believe I mentioned it last week, and that was that Embroidery Central at embroidery.com is doing a challenge for the month of June. It's hashtag Summer Stitching 2021. And basically what the challenge is you stitch for 30 minutes a day, and the requirement is to post your start and finish photos in the Facebook group, or if you don't have those, if you don't have Facebook, you can email them to the organizer. I've also been posting mine on Instagram with the same hashtag, so you can kind of follow along with my exploits, I guess, if you want to. So I'm working on that, but it's going to be one of those projects I just mentioned. And occasionally when the bug bites me, I'll do something else. Like last night, I just couldn't work on Hello Sunshine anymore, and that is why you saw Yona today. So, that's it. That's whips. That's plans. If that's all you're here for, bye. Have a great week. See you next time, I hope. And otherwise, feel free to stick around for haul and life updates and media consumption, reading, watching, listening to stuff. First up, haul. Not a whole lot this week. If I'm a good girl, there won't be a whole lot for a long time. I really should curb my spending, but I can't. Pretties. There are so many pretties. I'm already actually, I think, planning on buying another pattern today. Well, I'm not buying another pattern. It's a fundraiser. I'm planning on making a donation and acquiring the related pattern. But hopefully I'll be good. First up, I had mentioned these last time, and this is one of the things that helped me with Cinderella. I'd mentioned I was having trouble with counting on linen. I'm still having trouble with counting on linen, but life has been made a little bit easier that I acquired some counting pins. And I'll try to move this in. I don't know if this will focus or not. Oh yeah, not too bad. These little dragonflies. So yeah, I got some counting pins. I actually got 2 sets. I don't know if I'll need 2 sets. I might do a giveaway later if I decide I don't need 2 sets. But yeah. And also at the same time, I got a Frogger. And again, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. A little dragonfly charm on the end there of basically a dull needle, but it's a little bit longer, a little bit thicker than the needles that I stitch with, so it's a little bit easier to manipulate to frog stitches. If I had my druthers, I'd still get a longer, thicker needle than this, but it's fine. And they came with these beautiful little organza bags. And these are from Stitchingly Along on Etsy. And the other thing I got was my Fabric of the Month from Mystic. And I get my Fabric of the Month super fast. Usually the day after she mails it, because I live one city over. So if you have not gotten your Fabric of the Month from Mystic, this one's well worth waiting for. So you might want to give the next 30 seconds or so a skip. This is probably my favorite Fabric of the Month I have ever gotten from either Mystic or Bestitch Me. And I say that a lot. I say a lot how much I love their fabrics, and I do. I love them all. But this one's on another level. And this is Imagine. I just think that's absolutely stunning. I love the colors. I love the way they modeled. I've been following the Fabric of the Month spoiler post, and everybody's look different. I mean, they always do, but some months more than others, and this is a month where everybody's really do look very different. They're all gorgeous. I love it. I am going to have a really hard time bringing myself to put a needle through this one, which defeats the purpose of the Fabric of the Month, I know, but I'm in kind of a conundrum on my Fabric of the Month. Right now, I get a 16 count Ada from both Mystic and Bestitch Me. For Bestitch Me, I'm in the Mix Club, so every other month I get a neutral. One month I get a neutral, the next month I get a color, so that kind of is helping me build my neutral stash because I don't have as much neutral as I probably should or want to have. But lately I've been wondering, I kind of want to start accumulating some even weave. My thought is to convert my Bestitch Me fabric for a couple of reasons. One, it's a few dollars cheaper, so the price increase from going from Ada to going to an even weave, just a little bit less. And since that's my mix, I would be accumulating both color and neutral even weaves, rather than just with Mystic. She occasionally does a neutral, but it's one color a month, so it's what it is. My concern is, I know even weaves don't. I love the vibrancy of the Adas, and I know that some even weaves tend to come out more muted. Like, for instance, the month I got, I think, Anemone from Bestitch Me, the neutral was Bronze Age. And I love the way it looks in Ada, and I love the way it looks in Linen. I wasn't as thrilled with the way it looked in the even weaves, the Lugana and the Jolene. And that's kind of what I'm worried about, is I really like the vibrant colors, and I really am concerned about the muting. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. That reminds me, I do also want to get a piece of Bronze Age, and then this month, of course, the neutral was Stonehenge I showed last week, and I've seen the color, which was Phoenix, which again is absolutely stunning, so I may have to place an order with Brandy for those two fabrics eventually. But yeah, so there's my conundrum. I don't know. What do you think? Or the other option I could go with, I know Misty came across some unsized Lugana that takes color a little bit better, so it's not as muted. But then, like I said, her fabric of the month is a little bit more expensive to begin with, and then I won't be building my neutral stash as much. I don't know. I don't know what to do, but it seems kind of excessive. Like, I'm accumulating a ton of 16 count Ada, and I feel like I want to at least accumulate other fabrics, or maybe I need to cancel one or both of them. I don't know, but then I can never have too many fabrics, right? Okay, and here's splice number 2. At the end of the haul segment, I talked about this stitch along that I ordered that I didn't ever tell you what it was. I got the Frosted Pumpkins Cozy Cafe Stitch Along, and here's what it's going to look like. At least the parts that we've already gotten. I am holding off starting this one because I have a friend who stitches who also wants to work on this one, so I am waiting for her to get a chance to, she has a goal she wants to meet on her current whip, and then she'll get it, and then we can start together. But I saw this one, and I live off of Earl Grey, and when I have to drink coffee, my drink of preference is raspberry mocha, and those two are right next to each other on 2 of the first 3 that were released. So I had to get it, and it's so adorable. Look at the little panda on the cup. It's so cute. So yeah, I got that one. Now, so that's for real the end of my haul. Now I had one other thing a couple of things that I was thinking of for like logistics for Flosstubes. The first one is I am toying with the idea of going to every 2 weeks. I'm having trouble keeping up with watching Flosstubes in large part because there are so many that I want to watch, and I have such a finite amount of time that I can watch them. And I don't want to be causing that problem for anyone else. And I've noticed about every other one of my videos, the views seem to be lower. And I'm wondering if it's just because once a week is just too much to keep up with. So I'm toying with the idea of going to every 2 weeks. They'll be longer then. I say that. Usually when I do them every week, they're only 45 minutes. This one's already over an hour. Sorry. But they will probably hit closer to an hour if I do them every 2 weeks, just because I'll have so much more to talk about. And so I'm thinking of doing that. Feedback appreciated. And then the other thing I'm thinking about doing is, it's June, so the end of June will be halfway through the year. And I was wondering if there's any value to doing a mid-year finish summary or a mid-year whip parade, or both. I had been asked the other day, like, that's another thing. Feel free to ask questions in the comments. I'll be happily answer them. But I had been asked the other day exactly how many whips I had, and I don't know. The last time I counted, I had 36, but I've had at least one finish since then, and I've added some stuff. So I thought I might pull them all out and get an idea of what I've got. And I just wondered if anyone would be interested in seeing that, or if once a year is enough. Because it's largely what I've been working on for the last 6 months. Ditto with the finishes. At the end of December, the last week of December will be a finish summary, and then the first week of January will be my 2022 whip parade. But yeah, is there any value to doing a mid-year one? Okay, so second splice out. Yeah, that's really all I've got this week for haul. So if you save for stitchy stuff and then haul, here is where we part ways. Have a great week. And if you're in for life updates and reading, watching, listening, and so on and so forth, stick around and strap in, because it was a week, I tell you. So last week I talked about the fact that I was struggling a little bit, and I took some time off work. I had to go in on Thursday for a presentation, and I decided also to go in on a Wednesday so I could practice said presentation and get some other stuff out of the way. And I can't say that was a mistake, because the problem day was not Wednesday, it was Thursday, and that was the day I didn't have an option on. Thursday was a bad day. I was trying to get some stuff done before I got out the door to go to training, and person I needed decided to take the week off also, but had told me they were going to be there. So it was kind of a mess, and that stressed me out. Then I'm butting heads with someone else over a technical issue, and I feel bad about it because it's not that big a deal, but at the same time, I'm not wrong, and it's frustrating. The whole situation is frustrating. I'm not going to go into it, but I'm butting heads with someone at work who is someone I genuinely like and don't normally butt heads with, and since it's not a big deal, I'm just worried that they're going to be upset with me. But at the same time, it's kind of a big deal, because if they're doing what they it's not important. It's just it's a frustrating situation. On top of that, Thursday was my mom's 65th birthday. And my mom's been gone for 5 years, and so most of the time, I'm sure anyone who deals with the loss of someone that close to them is kind of in that boat. It's 5 years, most of the time, everything is pleasant memories and fondness, and like some of the sting is gone. But that was not the case on Thursday. So by about 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, I was so upset that I was visibly shaking and making chamomile tea to calm myself down. Yeah, it was a day. And I had to go do my presentation. So I left, I did my presentation, and the sweetest thing happened. One of my friends lives in the town that I had to do the presentation for. Actually, you'll probably hear about her a little bit more. I'm going to call her the cooking nerd, because that's what she calls herself. Lives in the town where I had to do the presentation. And so she said, make sure on your way out of town you stop at one of these 2 ice cream places. Get yourself some ice cream. You don't have to tell me twice. So I pop in the directions onto my GPS, and one of them is literally on my way out of town. I have to drive by it to get out of town anyway. So I don't feel too bad about... I'm not taking time off work to go to this ice cream place anyway, because it's on my way out of town. And I skipped lunch, so this is my lunch hour. So I stop at this ice cream place, and in front of me in line are 2 EMTs. And they're just chatting, and one of them turns around and looks at me and happens to notice I'm wearing one of my work shirts because I was representing work for this presentation. And I've mentioned before that I'm a forensic scientist, so that I had on a shirt that indicated such. So we got into a conversation because first responders, a lot of times, I don't actually go to crime scenes, so technically I'm not a first responder. But a lot of times, like when I run into people who are first responders in the community, they feel kind of an affinity for us just because of our employment. So we're having this nice little conversation, and they are in front of me in line, and the guy asks me, well, what do you think you're going to get? And I looked at the menu, and I'm like, oh, this sounds really good. I think that's what I'm going to get. And the next thing I know, he's ordering it for me. So these 2 very nice people bought me ice cream, and that made my day a little bit better. So yeah, that was very nice. And thank you, random EMT. You don't know how much I needed that day. Babbly story. Other than that, the rest of the week was actually pretty calm. I had a lot of errands and stuff to do, so I unfortunately had to miss a graduation open house this weekend. I'm now 0 for 2. I'm a horrible, horrible friend, but I'm taking care of myself, and that's just as important. My former instructor for ballroom, my nerd twin, is back for the summer, so I got to have a class with him this past week. For the first time since March, I had one with him when he was home for spring break. And we'll get to hang out and waltz and talk about nerdy stuff for the rest of the summer. So my watching is probably going to pick up because I was thoroughly berated for the fact that I've not seen WandaVision or Falcon and Winter Soldier. Or The Mandalorian, and I haven't finished Castlevania, and like a lot of other stuff. But I got points for the amount of reading I'd gotten done, so it all works out. But yeah, it's gonna be good to have him back to just kind of dance and chat with once a week. It's a good stress break. And that's really about it. So, reading, watching, listening to. I am working on Percy Jackson, and let's see, this is The Last Olympian. So it's the last book in Percy Jackson and the Olympians. And then next month, for Magical Stitches, we'll have a month off from Focus Books, and then in August we will start with the Heroes of Olympus series, which I've never read those 5, so that's going to be new for me. The first 5 I've already read, so I'm rereading them. I finished, as I said, I finished The Hunting Party, and I finished The Enchantress, and I only had a couple of days until the new reading month was going to start for Magical Stitches, so I didn't really want to start anything until I knew what the new prompts for this month were going to be. So I just went back and I picked up Sense and Sensibility because I've started that for Stitching Book Club and I never got it finished. So I just listened to a little bit more of that. It's still not done, but I will pick it up eventually. And then started The Last Olympian. For this month for reading, I just got from the library finally, I've been on hold for it forever, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And then the Stitching Book Club prompts for this month, the ones that I will probably use are historical fiction and paranormal. I'm not going to do westerns, that's just not my genre, and I can't remember what the fourth one is. Oh, new to me authors, which actually one of the books that I'm going to do, my dance partner recommended to me the Mercy Thompson series. It's got Werewolves and Vampires by Patricia Briggs. So it's paranormal and it's also a new to me author. So that should cover the prompts for this month. I've got that one waiting also when I finish the other two. Watching, I haven't done a lot, but like I said, my dance partner's been on my case, so probably going to get more of that done. I have been watching Flosstube. So I've been watching mostly, I've been frantically trying to catch up because I'm 3 weeks behind. But I also try to throw in a new person every once in a while. And I actually don't even watch a lot of the like, oh, everybody watches so-and-so and everybody watches so-and-so. And I actually have not watched a lot of them. When I started my Flosstube, I actually started it before I realized Flosstube was a really big thing. And so I kind of started watching with the people who watched mine. So I started with a lot of like newer people and I haven't gone back and watched a lot of the bigger ones. So I'm going to start slowly adding those to my Flosstubes also. I think I've mentioned in the past I just recently started watching Darcy Cameron. And then this week I've added Michelle Bendy to my list, but I haven't actually watched one of hers yet. But new ones that I watched this week. I watched Obsessive Crafty Dabbler and really enjoyed her Flosstube, and she does some other stuff besides just stitching. She crocheted a little Jawa and it is adorable. And she was also doing some fabric dyeing, which I have mad respect for anyone who can fabric dye, because if you've gone back and watched my old stuff, you know I tried all that and it didn't work too well. And then I watched Mad Morty, and again, really enjoyable. She had her husband along with her this time also, and he was showing off his whips also. Really enjoyed watching that. Hey, it's me again. So I realized as I was going through and editing that I forgot to mention one new Flosstuber that I started watching, and that was Fever Dreams. I really enjoyed my first look at your channel, and I'm looking forward to more. And then also I had talked about someone and I called their channel the wrong name, and that was Geeky Witch. So also watched your channel and enjoyed it very much for my first time around too. Looking forward to seeing more from both of you. So yeah, those are the new ones that I watched, and I enjoyed them all very much, and you should go check them out. And I am always open to suggestions of other people to watch, so please feel free to suggest some. I try to add 1 or 2 a week. I've been having problems with my Flosstube watching because what I used to do when I was on nights is I would do all my lab work, and then I would come back to my desk because there was always also desk work for me to do, whether I was reviewing reports or writing reports or reviewing data or whatever. There was always desk work for me to do. So I would go do all my lab work, and then I would come to my desk and I would turn on Flosstube and I would just have it in the background while I was doing my work. And technically there's no reason that I can't do that now except for the fact that my desk is jokingly referred to as, not just by me, but by several people, as Grand Central Station. It is smack dab in the middle of the row of cubicles. It is the big cube, so all of my friends nominated me to be the keeper of the community coffee pot that we all share. So there are constantly people in and out, which is funny because I rarely drink coffee. And since I've gone back to drinking a lot of my tea, I don't drink it at all. But the coffee pot is still in my cubicle. So there are constantly people in and out of my cubicle, walking back and forth. For some reason, that's a good place to stop and talk. People will be on their way somewhere else and they will stop. So it's constant noise and I just can't focus on Flosstube like I used to. So I'm trying to find time to fit it in other times. And it may just be that now Friday night's anime binge and Saturday night is Flosstube binge. I don't know. But if I haven't watched your most recent video, and I usually do, and I usually comment, I am working on getting to you. I think there's only a few people left, and I'm working on it. I think that is about it. So I am going to check my notes that I stupidly left on my phone. I need to start using a notebook. But my phone is with me, and I remember these things at the randomest time. So then I'll open up the notes, and I'll just write it. I need to work on transferring them to a notebook before I talk. So yeah, I'm going to go back and do that. I'm going to record a few more things and splice them in. And then I might take a nap with Lil Miss. Because it's Sunday afternoon. And it's nice and quiet. And I think she's got the right idea. So, I hope you all have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you next time. Bye.